Bring Lisa Bloom in. Lisa representing a couple of Diddy accusers, one of them being the singer Dawn Richard, who we saw testify during this trial. Welcome, Lisa. I actually want to spend some time talking to you about what civil trials and civil court, what could be next in all of this. But first, I do need to get your reaction to today. I mean, your feeling on this this split verdict was what?
Well, it's very disappointing, and it takes me back to O.J. Simpson. I mean, to see all of this very powerful testimony against Sean Combs, and then he's acquitted of the top charges. There's no question that that is a disappointment. But at least he is a convicted felon now of 2 federal charges, and I hope the judge sentences him to several years at least behind bars.
So what would you say about where he was acquitted? I mean, I get it on the racketeering charge. We talked about it in detail yesterday about how that was difficult to build, okay? You're essentially trying to say this guy's the head of a criminal enterprise. You can weigh in on that, but I'm more curious to what you think about sex trafficking for Cassie and for Jane, and why they weren't able to secure a conviction there.
Right. Well, only the jurors know, of course, but sex trafficking is essentially getting a sexual activity with somebody by fraud, force, or coercion. There's no question that he engaged in violence against Cassie. There's the hotel video that we've all seen that the jury saw over and over again. There are multiple witnesses to the violence that he committed against her. And the other victim, Jane, testified to similar kinds of things, but the jury didn't see it. And it's hard for me to say why. I mean, the defense kind of mocked the prosecution in their closing arguments, saying, oh, this is just about baby oil and Astroglide. And, you know, that's not obviously what the case was about, but that is something that was found in the searches. More importantly, in the searches were found weapons. And the women's testimony, I thought, was very powerful, but I guess the jury just didn't see it.
What can you tell us about what might happen next now? Burden not as high in civil court. We have a screen here that'll show since May 1st, 78 civil cases filed, as of May 1st, I should say, against Sean Combs. Okay, so we said you represent some accusers of Combs. Where are we going?
Yes, so I represent Dawn Richard and John Doe, a male who is anonymous, and my male client's claims are very similar to those that Sean Combs was found guilty of now, which is prostitution across state lines. It's very similar to what my client alleges. But the bottom line is, each case is independent and separate. Civil cases have a lower burden of proof, just preponderance of the evidence, not beyond a reasonable doubt, like in a criminal case, and they will go forward. We've been fighting motions to dismiss, doing a lot of legal wrangling. We will continue to fight for our clients. If Sean Combs is incarcerated on the felonies that he's now been convicted of, I look forward to taking his deposition behind bars.
So that could still happen. We don't know if he'll get jail time. The next order or the next question facing all of us today is whether he walks out of that courthouse on bail.
Yes.
Does any of the civil litigation maybe get into the thinking of the judge in terms of flight risk or anything like that? Will that be considered today at all, or would you like to see it be considered?
Yes, flight risk and propensity for violence are still very much at issue on the bail hearing. In fact, we are submitting a letter to the judge today before the bail hearing, which means in the next half hour or so, on behalf of Dawn Richard, because she is very concerned and she wants her voice to be heard to the judge, that she is concerned. She is concerned for her safety. Also, we feel that the law requires Mr. Combs to continue to be held until sentencing. And so that's what we're asking the judge to do.
Could you summarize or articulate kind of what's in that letter, what the argument is, even if it's not word for word, like what you're saying to the judge on her behalf?
Yes, we are saying that Ms. Richard's harrowing experience involving Mr. Combs's violence and death threats means that she believes that he continues to pose a significant danger to the victims who testified in the case, including herself, and to the broader community. And the circumstances that prompted the government and the court's repeated denial of Mr. Combs's prior bail applications remain unchanged, right? Nothing has changed. He still is who he is.
So I think Doug Wigdor represents Cassie, was saying something similar outside court. So I guess it's we'll let you get back to work on all of that. This is about an hour, I guess they have this. So what's your level of, you have any level of confidence or any thoughts going into that hearing before we let you go?
I think bail should be denied, and I hope the judge agrees.
Lisa Bloom, thank you. Okay, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, now. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.